yourself, you can break your bones, bad things can happen. So you do have to understand what you're doing. You do have to be instructed by someone who knows what they're doing so that you don't get hurt. And speaking of getting hurt, you didn't come here to listen to me battle with you.
No, let's see, get hurt.
Yeah, you want to see me hurt?
Yeah.
You want to see me sacrifice myself for science? Parts of me anyway. They'll preserve the other parts for posterity. How about if I do, let's call it 5 boards at once.
Woohoo!
Oh, I'm doing it. 5 boards at once. Okay. As the lady said to her date, that's a lot of wood.
Oh, boy. Yeah.
It's okay. That's why I don't tell jokes. Okay, so if I were to try to break that, that would be pretty impressive, wouldn't it?
Yeah.
Actually, if I were to break it, it'd be impressive, not try to break it. Well, I want to point something out to you. I'm not going to do this.
Okay.
There's a really good reason I'm not going to do this. Because I'm asking for a trip to the hospital if I try that, even with 20 years of experience. Okay? Because if you try to connect with the boards like this and break them, you're basically hitting one really thick piece of wood, right? And those of you who've seen these kinds of martial arts demonstrations, like Jonesy, right? Your bosses just did an episode of this. There's a trick here. And the trick is to use spacers. So you take some little spacers that you put up here, like this, to separate the boards ever so slightly. And say, okay, so what? What's the big deal about the spacers? Why does that matter? Well, it's magic, right? No. See, the reason why you use the spacers is because by separating the boards in this fashion, what you do is, instead of breaking one really large board, you're essentially breaking one board at a time. See, there's this concept called momentum, right? In physics. And this is supposed to be a lesson. And so what happens is, if I were to strike this properly, the momentum of my hand would carry through the first board, break it. I'd lose a little momentum with my hand. It would carry through the second board. That would lose a little momentum from my hand. And then that would carry through the third, and so on all the way down. Kind of like a pancake type effect. The best analogy I can give you is, say you've got a train, right? Have you ever heard a train start? You notice you get that all the way down the line? Right? That's because the trains have a loose coupling between the cars. If the cars were rigidly coupled, they couldn't all start at once, could they? The engine couldn't move the whole mass at once. So the engine moves itself, and after it moves, its momentum latches onto the second car, which helps move it. The 2 combined cars latch onto the third car, which helps move it, and so on down the line. This is the same principle, but in reverse. Okay? So enough talk. Let's have some action. Now I want to point out, when I do this, you want to look for all the things I was talking about before. There's a lot of things happening here. If you want to generate a huge amount of force and break the boards, you've got to have 3 basic things. You've got to have a low time of impact. These concrete blocks going anywhere?
No.